Hey there, everybody. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels, and you are watching Weather Homeschool. On today's episode, we're talking about the thing that interests most students when I talk to them, and that is tornadoes. Now, before we get into the lecture part of it, you see these two things here in front of me. These are my two favorite experiments to show kids how tornadoes work. And this one is the one that most kids have seen before, where you take two soda bottles, and I have taped them together really tight. That way the water doesn't leak out. But the water here showing the moisture that we have in a lot of storm systems. And when you start to spin that moisture, watch what happens here as I set it down. I'll step out of the way. And there you see the tornado spinning in the top half of the bottle. So pretty cool. Take some time. Make sure that you fill up that bottle just about halfway with some water. Okay, pretty cool. Give that a try at home. And then the other one that's pretty cool that maybe you haven't seen is if you take a jar, like a pickle jar or a pepper jar, or in this case, this used to have pizza sauce in it. And what you do is you fill it up most of the way with water. Then you put a little, and I mean a very little bit of dish soap. You don't want to put too much in, otherwise it'll turn too cloudy. And then I put some green glitter to symbolize the grass that's going to spin around the tornado. And what you do, we're going to zoom it in and show it for you, is you give it a little spin, and there is your tornado, okay? So we'll do that once again. We'll give it a little bit of time. And one thing you want to do is make sure that the water is pretty clear before you go spinning it up. And you want to give it a nice tight spin. Make sure that you're holding on to this very tightly, very carefully, especially since it's glass. Don't want it to go breaking and hurting yourself. But all right, 3, 2, 1. Give it another spin. And there you go. Very skinny kind of tornado. We call these a rope tornado, which we've actually got pictures that a friend of mine sent me. He used to storm chase with Virginia Tech, the Hokie Storm Chasers, and he got a picture of a rope tornado. Also got a picture of kind of a cone tornado, which you see here when they were chasing a few years ago, and then also a wedge tornado. Those at times can be stronger than maybe some of the other ones that you see. We don't typically see those around here, but we at least have here in the past few years. So at the end of this video, I want you to not be scared of tornadoes, because we're going to show you how to prepare for those. And it's also helpful to know what exactly something is. I think the more that we know about something, the less scared we can be. So there is a difference between a funnel cloud and a tornado. Funnel cloud is a spinning cloud, a rotating column of air that has not touched the ground. It's still in the sky. But a tornado is when that funnel cloud actually touches the ground. Okay, so something that not many people maybe know. The one question I always get, though, is how do you know when a tornado is coming? And if you've been watching us, or if you have our app, you can see something that's called radar. And radar is something that really just detects precipitation, different kinds of precipitation. And so another buddy of mine named Eli sent me these pictures, which are just absolutely perfect for today's lesson. And so really, what does this look like? It looks like a hook, right? Well, we actually call that a hook echo. And right here is where we would expect the tornado to be. Now, this isn't happening right now as you're watching it. This is an old picture, but this hook echo is where you tend to see the tornado developing. We can also look at a different form of radar called velocity, which basically tracks the raindrops and what speed they're moving at, and also what direction they're moving at, okay? Because a tornado, all it is air that's moving in different directions, okay? It can be very strong, but that's what we mean by rotating or spinning. Okay, so the green means that it's coming toward the radar, right? So the wind is going that way. The red means that the air is going away. So you have that spin being detected on radar. Again, that's an old picture right there, but want to thank Eli for sending that in. All right, so we've talked about quite a bit. Give yourself a little bit of time to stretch, and we'll be back to talk more about tornadoes and also give you 2 trivia questions. So one of the most important things you can know about any kind of storm, flooding, or tornadoes is what's the difference between a watch and a warning. The National Weather Service will issue these when we have storms in the forecast. So a watch means that a tornado is possible, that weather conditions are favorable for a tornado to develop. When you're under a watch, you prepare, okay? When you're prepared for something, you can't be scared, right? You're already prepared for it, you're good to go. When you're under a tornado warning, that means the tornado is happening or is expected soon. That's when you take action, and we'll talk about what that means here in a few seconds. And then very rare is a tornado emergency, when you have more of a dangerous situation going on. I have not seen a tornado emergency issued around here in my time that I've been here. So what do you do when a tornado happens? We'll get to that here in just a minute, but one of the other things that people talk about is that tornadoes can't happen because we live in the mountains. That's only sort of true. Tornadoes do still happen here, but maybe not quite as often. And I want you to think about a figure skater. When a figure skater has their arms out, they spin a little more slowly, right? Well, it's kind of like a tornado. If it's up on the mountain, it's kind of like that ice skater with its arms spread out, and it spins more slowly. But when it comes down the mountain, it can stretch out a little bit, bring its arms in close together, and then at that point, you start to spin really, 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 really fast, okay? So when tornadoes come down the mountain, they can actually get a little stronger. Now let's talk about where to go when a tornado warning is in effect. I want you to pause the video really quick and think about it. Think about the best spots that you can be in if you have a tornado warning for where you are, and I'll show you the right answers coming up when you unpause. So if you had a few minutes to think about it, good deal. Let's go ahead and just show you with two different colors. The red means where you shouldn't be. The green means where you should be, okay? So in the upper level of a house or an apartment or near windows, that's a bad place to be. The windows could knock a little bit of glass around. We don't want you getting hurt, right? But a basement, great place to be, or away from windows, okay? So you can be in a closet, in a bathroom that doesn't have windows. Another thing you can do is put helmets on, put shoes on. That way you're protected just in case there's any glass that goes flying around. What I want you guys to do for the next video, I want you to take a safe place selfie. This is something that people do across the country. Take a picture with your phone in your safe place with your family. And if you feel comfortable enough doing so, you can send me that picture on Facebook or through email, and I'll post those pictures. That way everybody knows what they should do ahead of the storm. So the last thing we're gonna do here is ask you guys some trivia questions. We've got two for you. I'm gonna start out with one, okay? Just so you guys know ahead of time, we rate tornadoes from 0 to 5, EF0 to EF5. So what I want to know from you is, where was the strongest tornado? What state was that strongest tornado? Bonus points if you can tell me the town. So just pause the video real quick. When you think of it, unpause the video and we'll show you the answer. All right, so the strongest tornado on record happened in Moore, Oklahoma. They tend to get a lot of strong tornadoes out that way. The strongest on record was in Moore, and estimated wind speeds were around 300 miles per hour. Luckily, we don't see anything that strong around here, or at least we haven't yet. The second trivia question, how wide was the largest tornado? I want you to think of how wide this could have been. Pause the video really quickly, and when you unpause, we'll share the answer. The widest tornado on record was also in Oklahoma. It was in a town known as El Reno, and it was 2.6 miles wide. That is a huge tornado, and again, luckily, we haven't seen anything close to that here in our part of Virginia. I want to thank you guys again for tuning in to Weather Homeschool. Tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning, we will be talking about hail. We've got all kinds of cool experiments that we're going to share with you to show you how hail forms and how it can get really big. In the meantime, thank you again for joining us. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels for Weather Homeschool.